oh, it's not you, it's me. I need to work on myself, but really there's something going on and he don't want to admit it. Either he's on his fuckboy shit or there's something he just don't want to tell you or admit, you know, because he doesn't want to hurt your feelings or create a fight. There's something you don't know, so you're left in the dark.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to give you all of the answers to what those things might be.
Yeah.
It don't make no sense.
Bro, we look like the Men in Black, you want me to be honest?
You know.
Welcome to Men in Black.
We don't know these fucking lyrics.
You just gotta vibe to it.
We just gotta hum this shit. You feel?
Bro, ain't nothing like that, bro. Bring back memories, man. The classics. What you know about it?
But yo, you know what? Kind of talking about everything that's going on with you and, you know, your new marriage. And like, little do people know that this is a person that you've referenced many times throughout this podcast, but they just didn't know it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And there was one particular clip that we put out like months ago. And it created a lot of controversy in the comments. And the clip was like basically about, can you let a person go out of love? And you were explaining basically your situation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the comments were like, oh, I've heard this excuse before. I've heard that excuse before. It's not you, it's me. You know, I need to work on myself because let's be real. There are some dudes out there that will use that as an excuse.
100%.
And they don't want to say the full truth.
100%.
Right? And there's different ways they'll use it. There's the way that fuckboys use it. There's the way that like the average guy uses it. And then there's the way that the guy who actually like means it uses it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like honestly, I think it's gonna be really, that's what we're gonna cover today in today's episode. Is we gonna give you the lowdown on exactly what that fool is actually thinking, and how to spot and know whether or not this guy is being real about it, if he really means it or if he's just bullshitting. Because there's certain actions and traits about him that you could look out for and know you're full of shit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You're full of shit, homeboy. Oh, you don't want to keep it real? Oh, well then we just gonna have to call you out on it.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean? So ladies, we're about to put you on game today again. Once again,
so
baby.
We pop out with the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Strip Down Podcast.
SDP.
Well, we gonna be addressing them pressing concerns. All the chicanery, what that man is thinking, what is actually going on, right? And this could go vice versa. So if you're a fella listening to this and you've heard this line before, you know, here's some also things that you could look for and how it can apply both ways. Because really, you just switch it, like flip the genders or the roles, and it applies exactly the same way.
Oh, mostly, yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, I was going to say,
you know
there's a little difference, but mostly for the universally, for sure.
Right. So now you guys know about Romeo being a married man. And now this is a living testimony. What we're going to get to later in the episode is how it was 100% necessary in his particular case and how that all played out in exactly the way you guys went about it for it to turn out the way it did.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead and show them how it turned out, young man. It turned out just like that.
Know what I'm saying? The proof is in the pudding.
So sometimes it was like needed, because do you think that would have happened if you guys would have tried to stay together?
No.
It would have see? And like some of you might be doubting that right now and saying, well, how come you can't work on it while you're in the relationship? We're about to tell you exactly why. Because there's cases where that's true and there's cases where that's not. It's all situational. Everybody's situation is different.
100%.
Right? So we gonna get to all of it, baby.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. If you are new here, do me a big favor. hit that subscribe button, baby.
Right there.
Because you know what this is. It's a multi-part series. We do these episodes weekly where we're putting you on game. Both the fellas and the ladies.
Giving y'all glimpses.
That's right.
Of that guy.
Where do we see all these, questions and topics that we talk about on this podcast?
It goes down in the DMs.
It goes down in the DMs. That's where you could be the most honest with us. Right?
Absolutely.
So if you're not following us on IG, go ahead and do that right now. So that way we can address whatever you're going through as well.
Facts. Best thing is that it's anonymous, so feel free to be as transparent as you possibly
we
can.
keep it anonymous, baby. Don't worry.
Nobody getting exposed.
we won't go into too many specifics. One time I was getting a little too specific, and the dude saw the episode, and he got mad at his girl. He's like, "What the hell? They're talking about us."
She told you that.
I was like, "Yeah, well, she's calling you out, bro."
It must have been 100% that situation for him to know, because sometimes it could be generalized.
I was like, honestly, in that case, he deserved to be called out.
Yeah. If the shoe fits type of deal.
I was like, yeah, you are getting called out, bro,
Yeah.
because this shit's got to be addressed. You going to just keep it a secret, don't talk about our situations? It's like, well, how is she supposed to get advice to resolve the situation?
Yeah, otherwise, it'll be just sort of control the situation.
He trying to play a game on you.
Maybe he needed to see that.
He trying to do a one-on-one. Nah, fuck that. We doing a 3-on-1. You let us know. We got your back, girl.
Right, but always remember this too. Like it's always out of how can we just help improve something. It's never coming out of condemnation or anything like that on either
100%.
parties.
But
just more of like love. You feel me?
Yeah. For the most part, it's always coming out of love.
Absolutely.
Until it comes to these fuck boys. Then it's gotta.
We gotta strap up, we gotta gear up, and because we going to battle.
Look,
right now.
we know, we've been there, we done that. It's fucked up, and there's a lot of toxic shit out there. We just need to give you the tools and the weapons to basically protect yourself.
Yeah.
This is fuckery self-defense 101. That's what this is. We gonna make you a black belt in chicanery defense by the end of this damn thing.
They're gonna be like, we gonna need our black belt to put it on every single time.
Me? So we your senseis in this motherfucker. So ladies and gentlemen, what we like to do before we start each episode, we like to do a couple shout outs. Shout outs to y'all that be showing love in the comment section on the social media game.
We see it.
Y'all be showing up in the notifications more and more often. And we want to show some love right back to y'all.
Who we got?
So we got from YouTube, Tenhiro Kamado. And Robin Dandelion.
Robin, shout out to both of y'all. What's good?
That's right. And from IG, we got Alessandra Kamako and Victoria M. Guerrero.
Hey, shout out Victoria and Alexandra. Victoria.
And from TikTok, we got C. Carreras 1.0 and Danielle Lovesokia.
Ooh, love the names.
Love Sequoia. That's what it is.
Love Sequoia?
Yeah.
Shout out Love Sequoia.
Danielle Love Sequoia. Shout out to you, girl.
That's right.
So now, what we're going to be talking about is the original clip that started this whole thing was the can you let a person go out of love?
It's like the question of the century sometimes.
I should play that clip. I'm going to cut it in right here.
If he knew that it was better for you, for him not to be around, because he still had growth to do within himself, then he would let you go.
Yeah.
So that would mean that unconditionally he loves you. The fact that maybe it didn't work out because y'all two were just maybe at two different points where it was sort of battles that he needs to figure out for himself, but he doesn't feel the need to straggle you along on being selfish to do that. He's just like, I love this girl enough to let her go. And as much as maybe I love her and I want, she makes me happy or whatever the case is, because we don't know the truest extent to this, but he just like lets you go out of like, hopes of you finding a better person.
That was the video that started this entire, basically we're doing this whole episode off of the feedback that we got from that video. Yeah, it got like almost 500,000 views because there was a lot of comments that were, kind of going both ways. There were, and I know that there's some dudes out there that just use that as a lame ass excuse, right? And vice versa, right? And it's just like, oh, it's not you, it's me. I need to work on myself, but really there's something going on. And he don't want to admit it. Either he's on his fuckboy shit, or there's something he just don't want to tell you or admit. you know, because he doesn't want to hurt your feelings or create a fight because there's something, or maybe there's something else going on. There's something you don't know, so you're left in the dark.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna give you all of the answers to what those things might be.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're gonna start with, and I mean, we've been there before. Let's admit it. You know, we've been there before. You don't know how to tell a girl, like, I figured out we're not compatible.
Correct.
You know, like I don't want to hurt your feelings. So it's like me not be willing to accept that about you is really what's going on. It's not you, it's me not wanting to accept that. So I need to go do something else or whatever. We should go our separate ways. You know what I mean? Have you ever been in a situation in the past where you could think of like, have you ever used that excuse before? It's not you, it's me, in the past where you didn't really mean it, or like you were using it kind of just like as a easy cop out?
Yeah, I think what I can definitely say is that like the one thing a lot of people don't really like is confrontation, or a difficult sort of conversation that results in feelings being hurt or this and that. Right. So I think what happens is, you sort of go into this whole, how can I sort of maybe cope this person with not hurting their feelings, but still sort of getting my point across in a way that doesn't come across as asshole or fuck boyish, right, or something like that. But I do believe, and I am going to say this, that it really is all across the spectrum, because it's not one size that fits everything. Yeah. Because if a guy says that, for one, I do believe that on a way, even surface levels, is sort of respectable. Because I do know nowadays, right, there's so many relationships.
For the average guy?
But let me tell you this. Because I see, and I've witnessed now, even within this generation, on guys feeling the need to have their cake and eat it too. And what I mean by that is they are in relationships, but they're still doing fuckboy things. Yeah. And they're not choosing to get out of that, because at the end of the day, the selfless move would be to get out of that. So you're not hurting that person and continue to hurt that person, but they're staying. Right,
but they should have never got in the first place.
And that's the thing. It's like sometimes what I feel is that someone hasn't completely, or the guy hasn't completely sort of reached that groundedness within himself, that maybe is his internalizations and things like that he still needs to work on. Because I do realize that even past trauma plays into effect with present actions on how guys act. And this is what I mean by no one is born into being a fuckboy. No one is born into doing this. But what I believe solely is that there were situations, and I'm not justifying anything, but what I do believe is that there's a reason for everything. Because you got to look at the intention behind how, or the motivation behind truly how someone is acting, and what is the reason for that, like really deep down. Like there's something that they're dealing with that maybe they haven't reached a state of solution, and now it's resulting in conflict. Now it's resulting in all this different stuff that doesn't come across as loving, because it's like, if you really love me, you want to do all these things. And in actuality, that is true. But then it doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. What it also means is that maybe he truly wasn't ready and he thought he was. And what had happened was he faced reality very quickly to see that, I sort of played myself right now. And now I have this person, a human being, that
I bit off more than I could chew.
bit off more than I could chew. And now I have to sort of protect them, or I have to like sort of go and be in my own sort of selfish, but still slightly selfless, basically motivation of where I go, my direction.
I could totally see that, because I think girls, you guys can relate to that too. I've been in a situation where the girl kind of started to feed into like me, like wanting to see what was there, and if we could create something. And as I saw that effort from her, it made me think, oh wow, she's like, okay, she really thinks something can work. Now I'm starting to consider that, and now I'm starting to open up and like let in a bit. And then we get to the point where I emotionally, give into her, and then she realizes, oh shit, I bit off more than I could chew. And she backs out, right? And then it leaves me in this state of like
brokenness.
So I feel like there isn't a one size fits all with this, right?
There definitely isn't.
And when I say fuckboy, truly what I mean is like there's the fuckboys who have like this you know, this agenda and this bitterness towards women, because obviously they were hurt in the past, and now they go into everything with this like method of manipulation.
Yeah.
Those are the fuckboys, right? And then there's the unintentional fuckboys, right? It's like they're somewhere in the middle. They have their trauma. They're trying to do their best to be better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they still have like some tendencies that they are unable to kind of let go of. Right. And they haven't grown out of that yet.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's the average guy who doesn't have really much of that trauma, you know, and they do have the best intentions, but they're still figuring life out. They're still like learning from their experiences and relationships and whatnot, and figuring out what they want.
Yeah.
And then they don't know how to handle it, so they might use it, that, you know, that excuse a different way.
Yeah.
Right? Their reasoning might be different.
Right. I feel you.
And then there's the ones that are truly like in love, and the love can be in like pretty much the previous three I described, except for the fuckboy, because that one, he's the guy who
you're saying it's intentional.
He fools you and manipulates you into thinking it's love to get what he wants. Which is to get some play. Right. Those are the ones that are the most fucked up out of all of them, because they are the ones you hear about. It's like, you know, tell her this, but, you know, still have your options. Those guys exist because they're preaching this stuff out there.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
And
So
I also
like,
believe those are the guys that are probably the most broken.
Yeah, 100%. The broken people, they're the ones that like have their mind made up that women aren't worth my time. They're not worth my respect, you know, but I still want to get some, so I have to say and do these things.
Yeah, and that's what I don't agree
to convince them that these words that I'm saying, these things that I'm saying are true, and and they're really fucking good at making you feel like they're being authentic with you. Because there are some hints of that human characteristic deep down that needs that and wants that, but there's also that strong part of him that knows that going that route will end up in distraught for him, so he has a strong wall between it being real and it being just to get what he wants. You know, and he doesn't let it cross back over. You know, so those are the guys. When I say fuckboys, those are the guys I'm talking about. You know,
and if there's full disclaimer, so if there's any of those guys that are listening right now, and you know who you are, if you are listening and you are doing those things, that's not cool. Because I feel like if you are in that state and you feel like that's the answer, it's really not the answer. And I'm telling you that from experience. You know, what I, you know, basically used to be in my past and my experience, because I was that guy. You know? So the thing is, you're doing yourself more harm than you are doing good, because really what you need to be doing is focusing on literally, you know, repairing, literally molding yourself back up to where all of what you're trying to feel of those voids and everything like that you're trying to do yourself would never work, because you're relying on your own strength, and then now you're doing things that you don't normally do, and then it's just like, oh.
Well, let's get deeper into that as we get into your story. You know, because you went through the healing process and got, you know, came out the other side. Right. So you know kind of what it takes to make that transition. And it's not easy.
No.
But we'll get to that. What I want to address first and foremost is how the fuckboy uses it, how the average guy uses it, and then how it actually can be true. Right. You know, and how it can actually be beneficial for, you know, a potential lifelong partnership and marriage, you know, like in your case. So to start off with the fuckboys, the way that the fuckboys use it, they're the ones, they're still trying to live that single life. Right? But they want to get some from wherever they can get it. Right? And they don't want to have the guilt of like making it seem like it wasn't just for sex. Right? Because they want to kind of maintain their own self, like reputation at the end of the day. They're trying to maintain that reputation. So they're doing things and saying things a certain way, so that way they can get what they want out of you without damaging their reputation, ultimately. So that way they can continue going and doing their fuckboy shit, right? These are the fuckboys. You know, he doesn't want to put himself as the bad guy, you know, quote unquote, because he knows word will get around and then it'll fuck up his game in the everywhere else. You know what I mean? So these are the ones you got to really fucking be careful of, right? And you got to know how to spot them. So what's one way to like spot this guy before you even start talking to him?
I feel like it's literally because you know how like the whole mimicking game, like okay, let me take like a true gentleman and let me just kind of acquire maybe some sort of qualities from him that I can sort of personalize in my own sort of facade of what that is. And you know, it could just be different things on, like you said, him trying to smooth talk a lot.
When
someone smooth talks, you gotta discern, you know, this guy, because it's just like, oh, he's saying all the right things. Everything sounds perfect of what I want to hear.
Exactly.
He's trying to woo me.
It's too perfect.
It's like almost, too fairy tale-ish, you know? So you kind of need to look and discern that a little bit, because it's not, it's really not as clear cut as what that can be, you know what I'm saying? Like in terms of like, oh, this guy is, you know, the best guy or whatever. He's probably just saying stuff just to get what he wants, just like you said, you know?
Exactly.
So really have that discernment.
He's one of the smoothest talkers you've ever heard.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how he is with everybody. He's super charming. Yeah. He's super, you know, charismatic. Yeah. And he's really good with his words, and he's really good at making you feel what you want to feel, right? And making you feel that sense of desire and all that. But here's how to know, like, how to avoid that guy is like you also got to pay attention to his lifestyle. Yeah. Right?
Oh, of course.
Because if he's that guy, right? Because there's charismatic guys out there that aren't necessarily fuckboys.
Right.
Right? You know, but if he's living like a quote unquote party life, or, you know, he's out there.
I mean, that's obvious.
Yeah, exactly. It's obvious. Like, you could check out his Instagram and figure out a lot about this guy. Check who he's following. If he's following a lot of, like, attractive, thirst-trappy girls, you know, that means he's looking for that female attention constantly. Yeah. You know, he's trying to slide at a lot of these girls at the same time. He's looking to plant as many seeds as he can, you know, and then when he finds you, then like he's playing the game on you. Yeah. So there's ways to spot that dude. He's you know, a lot of those guys that you can't hide that. He's got to be engaging with those girls that he's trying to sleep with. Yeah. Now, if it's just regular girls, right? Like, you can tell when a guy is following a girl because he's sexually attracted to her. Yeah. You know, or because, she's just like an average girl, right? Yeah. Or, you know, whatever. So it's like that's a sign in itself, is like, check his lifestyle, check out who he's following, check out who he's interacting with. Because a lot of the times you're going to see this motherfucker pop up and like by so-and-so, like by so-and-so, like by so-and-so. It's like, and if it's on pictures and videos of like thirst trappy stuff. Yeah. Yeah, he's a bit of a player.
I'd also say, see how he handles his phone around you. Yeah. You know, I feel like that's, if you're looking for sort of signs that may not be things that you think about, you know, pay attention to what that is, because, you know, of course is the obvious, like maybe you're wondering why this man isn't getting messages or phone calls or something like that, and he might have like turned off his phone when he's with you, or maybe put it on silent or something like that, and he's not checking because there's like other messages from girls or people, you know, and he's muting stuff or whatever like that because he wants to think that he's giving you all this time or whatever, but you know, he knows what he's doing, you know what I'm saying? So just pay attention. And then of course, like if he has, anytime y'all out and he got his phone like turned around,
protective of his phone.
Super protective of it.
Right. Know? This guy might even turn off the notifications for his messages while he's with you, so that way it never pops up. Yeah. Or he even puts it on like do not disturb mode, so that way none of them like pop up. That way he can leave it face up, and he don't have to worry about it. Yeah. Okay, so then if he leaves, here's a little tip. If he does leave his phone, because if he does that and then he leaves his phone around you, because he'll be more comfortable to leave it at the table and go to the bathroom while you're at a restaurant, because he knows, well, nothing's gonna pop up. It's locked, right? But guess what? Even though it's locked, you could still swipe down on the top right of his iPhone and see whether or not that little moon icon is highlighted. Because that moon icon is do not disturb.
Yep.
If that fucking thing is on, you caught his ass, sister.
Oh man.
Doesn't matter if it's locked or not. You could get straight into that thing.
I'm done.
And yeah, you got his ass.
100%. And I mean, if he is someone who has, say he does work, a lot of the times, maybe he is working a lot of the times, but if you do know a little bit more about his life and his lifestyle and what his job entails and what his schedule is, and he always feels the need, like he's always busy, or you guys make plans and he always maybe flakes a couple times or this and that, just make sure he's not telling you, hey, I'm here, but he's actually, with another girl.
Yeah. Well, see, this is why in all dating and relationships, you got to take your sweet ass time, girl.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, this could be for anyone who are in relationships or something, because I feel like dating, of course, you may expect. You're not exclusive, so I mean, things like that may happen, but.
Yeah, well, see, in the dating game, you want to take your time.
Yeah.
And get to know this guy. Do not emotionally invest.
Right.
Doesn't matter how smooth this guy is.
Yeah.
Keep him at arm's length until you find out all this information about him and can really discern accurately whether or not.
I think that's the main important key element, is being patient.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times, we want to have things now. We want to feel like love. We want, this guy, maybe he's doing the right things and everything. And it's just like, well, I could wait, but do I really want to wait? You know what I'm saying? Like, wait. It'll be the best thing that you could possibly do, because you are learning him. You know what I'm saying? And you're giving him time to truly show his true colors. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just going into something surface level.
I mean, it doesn't mean that you don't, because everybody's different. It doesn't mean that you can't still have your fun and you should be. Honestly, what we were talking about in the last episode is being happy alone is first and foremost, right? Yeah. But girl, go live your life, have your fun, but just protect your emotions first and foremost. Mm-hmm. So that way, when you do enter into a relationship, you're much more likely to find one that's successful. Yeah. Right? Because you're taking your time and doing your due diligence, basically, to figure out whether or not this person is a potential life partner. Because at the end of the day, that's the ultimate goal here. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's you want to, and until then, just don't even sweat it. Have your expectations, at nothing. Build these friendships. Have your fun, whatever, and go ahead and do your due diligence. And if he proves otherwise, then okay. Yeah. Because a lot of the things we're talking about right now, it scares everybody. It's okay, now I have to be on edge with everybody. I'm not saying every guy's like this. There's a lot of great guys out there. I'm just giving you the ones to stay. We're just giving you the ones to stay away from.
Right. And I was gonna say, in my personal opinion, ladies, don't give any guy the ability to even, have to take on your emotional strain, if that kind of makes sense. Literally, exactly. I feel like when you are just so focused on, your self-growth and, you're growing physically, spiritually, mentally, things like that, that's way better than thinking that you need to go out, with all these guys and do all these different things, because the best guy that you're going to ever find is the one that comes into your life while you're doing what you're doing for yourself to grow, you know? So that's just my personal opinion. Right. Is maybe you should just kind of steer clear of thinking that you need to go out and find all these different guys and this and that, because when you put out that energy, it almost really never comes to be as a solid form of a relationship.
It goes back to what we were saying in the last episode. With go into the world with the intention of creating friendships. Yeah. Rather than relationships. Yeah. And then letting them organically play out. Because 100%. Now you're protecting your emotions. Right. And you're not going in it with any expectations that could end up in disappointment. Right. And if the right guy, what the right guy will do, and we're going to get to it with Romeo's case, is he will show you the signs that he's actually changing, that he's willing to be that person for you. He's going to make those sacrifices. If he really cares about you, if he really is in love with you, trust me, there's nothing us guys won't do when we're feeling that sense of like, I love this person and I don't care what I gotta do. There's like literally, I don't care what I gotta do.
Facts.
Right? So, but it takes time for a guy to get to that point for him to want to be that way with you. It takes time, right? And he's got to see certain things about you that will make him want to be that way. So, you know, we're going to get to it, girl.
You know what I love? I love those videos of seeing those daily rituals from like people. You know what I'm saying? They wake up and then you see like these cut of montages of throughout their entire day. And it's such like a beautiful sort of self-care of like, you know, all the different things that they got. They wake up, you know what I'm saying? And then you just take a nice shower, you go to the gym, you come back, you know, you get your little business or something like that. You're trying something new. Maybe you're in a class, you come back, and it's just like this day.
It's such a perfect...
it's like a perfect sort of...
I should do one.
Mine is not like no, it's amazing though, because I feel like what it is that sometimes people are bored.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, oh, since I'm bored, I need to go out and do things.
Yeah.
It's like...
That goes back to
like you don't have to.
That goes back to the being happy alone clip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that mastering being happy alone, then that becomes unnecessary. But I should do a montage like that. You know what you gonna see?
Oh
see
man,
my
here we
ass
go.
fucking. Checking my phone, checking my emails. I got fucking.
Bruh.
I'm hit with like a barrage of emails. Shit.
Bro, you know what the funniest video I seen of you? You remember when the quarantine first happened? And then you had the video, the TikTok video of like, you pick up the keys and you got your phone and you got the POV on you and you got your shirt, your jacket on, and then you're walking out in the hallway, but you got no pants and you're like, oh
shit.
I forgot.
It's been so long.
It's been so
Because I swear to God, I'll get my day started. Most of the time I'm pantsless. I'm pantsless right now. Y'all don't even know. I'm playing.
I was about to say.
I'll be sitting there just in my underwear because I
don't make them think that you pantsless and we having a normal conversation.
No, we both pantsless right now. That's how we do it, baby. Strip down from the waist down.
Oh, we should be in the ice bath if that's the case then, bro.
But yo, that's literally how I get my day started.
Yeah.
I wake up, it's straight to my phone because it's got a barrage. I should take my time.
Yeah.
I know this ain't like the best, but like it's straight to the phone because I got a barrage of shit coming in, and then I'm like, shit, I gotta wake up, I gotta get going, and it's like right away having my breakfast, my meal, getting my energy drink, sitting right in front of my laptop. And I'm usually I don't even got no clothes on still. I haven't even like taken the time to put them on yet because I'm like I'm in a rush. Get the shit done, and I'm sitting here with the windows open, just in my underwear. Just going to town. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I should put some pants on. Look a little decent.
I'm a little too comfortable all day.
The neighbors don't seem to complain, so fuck it.
Oh man.
So back to kind of what we were talking about. Like those are some of the signs to look for. Is his lifestyle, how he is with his phone, right? How charismatic is he? Is it too good to be true? He's too charismatic. Like pay attention to those things and then you know, do the calculation in your head on whether or not this guy's a fuckboy. Because if he is doing all those things,
how he is on social media,
he's super charismatic. He's a fuckboy on social media, you know, but he comes across as like this sweet, charming guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Then it's like, yo, he might be up to some chicanery.
Yeah.
But here's an ultimate like tell is like he's a breadcrumber. Y'all know what breadcrumbing is? It's where you're given the bare minimum. Bare minimum to keep you engaged with him. Right? Mm-hmm. So he breadcrumbs you. You know, he's not overly pursuing you.
Yeah.
He's like keeping your interest. He knows how to play that game perfectly, right? And when it comes to seeing you and treating you a certain way, like he's giving you basically the bare minimum.
Yeah.
He shows you a little bit of signs of like boyfriend potential, but he never really goes like out of his way.
Yeah.
Or, you know, really sacrifices anything for you.
Yeah,
right?
It's really like a push and pull most of the time.
Right. So like it's like that's a clear tell that this guy ain't that serious. So keep him at arm's length, right?
Yeah.
Or just like continue to play the field until you find a better guy than him, you know, while you still figure him out, right?
Yeah.
Or just like, yo, I don't even want to waste my time. You already got too many of the red flags. 1, 2, 3. you out.
Especially if you made things clear that like y'all are headed in this like direction, and he's still like giving you the bare minimum, like even after having that clarity, you know.
Yeah.
So
he's very ambiguous with his intentions.
Yeah.
You know, and that's gonna come in the bonus episode. What all these like ambiguous things that guys say, what they actually mean.
Oh, man.
We'll get to that later, though. So now, okay, let's get to the average guy. Okay, that's the fuckboy version of like this scenario. Now, the average guy, this is the guy who really doesn't have like that, this disdain for women, right, or this like manipulative intention, but he ends up in a situation where he bit off more than he could chew, and it's literally, when you boil it down, it's like from a lack of experience, right, not knowing what he wants, not knowing himself, and also being selfish in the way of like trying to get what he wants before he's actually ready for it, or getting into something just for the sake of getting into it because that's what he wants, without fully like realizing whether or not it's right for him. Right. I made that mistake. Ooh. Right. Because there was a time in my life where I was feeling super lonely. Like I was feeling this depression and this anxiety, and I was just like, stress was getting to me in my life because I had so much anxiety, like with work and my business, and I felt like I was just alone in this thing. Right. You know what I mean? I was like, nobody gets me, like nobody understands, and I got nobody, right? I'm just by myself dealing with this, and it was really getting to me, so it made me want somebody, right? And then when I found somebody that showed me just a hint of like, hey, we could actually be something serious, like I tried so hard to make it work, even though she wasn't the right person for me and I wasn't the right person for her. Right, so I tried to ignore all that, and I was stubborn about it. And I know you ladies can relate, and people listening can relate to this. It's not that I had negative intentions. It's just I wanted what I wanted, and I was trying to make it happen, whether it was right or not. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And she was much more like self-aware of the fact than I was. Right. And she had much more like foresight to be able to see like, yo, we shouldn't cross that line. And I mean, I got to give her a lot of credit, even though she shattered my heart. She was right. She was ultimately right. And the way she handled it, like it wasn't fuck girlish at all. She was trying to be very delicate with my emotions, so like in retrospect, I could see that, so that's the person. And with her being delicate, this is where, it's not you, it's me kind of comes in sometimes, right? Because she wants to be delicate with my emotions. And sometimes this goes vice versa. Right. She knows I'm in like kind of the stressed state. Right. She knows that she don't want to add on to that. She doesn't want to like shatter me, so she's trying to be as careful as she can. And then there's some cases where you don't know how this guy's going to handle that. He might handle rejection like very poorly. He might get angry about it, right? And get more aggressive about it and frustrated. And then, some people you can't, that's why sometimes people ghost. Sometimes people like feed them lies on what they want to hear just so they can exit the situation safely without it being something that's going to compromise their safety, right? I'm not saying that was the case here, but she truly was trying to be considerate for my emotions, right? And she didn't really know how to go about it. In retrospect, I could see that now, right? And I was just so stubborn, and I was just like so lost, and I didn't want to believe it. And that's ultimately what's happening with a lot of girls that go through this, is like you're kind of being stubborn, because you want to make it work, even though you're not taking a bird's eye view and looking at the reasons why it's not right for you or him. And if it's not, maybe you think it's right for you, but it's not for him, now you're being selfish. Because I was being selfish. I wanted to make it work, but she knew it couldn't work. It wasn't right for her. Right. So I wasn't being considerate of her and what she needed. So that was selfish of me.
Right.
So in retrospect, I see that, and I'm like actually much happier now that we didn't go that route. Because honestly, I wouldn't be sitting here right now talking to y'all. You know, there's a lot of reasons why things don't work out the way they do, and how it can end up being better for you in the future.
Yeah.
Where it actually makes sense for you.
Yeah.
The next person actually makes sense. So be a little bit self-aware. I know it's really hard when you're like in that emotional state to really analyze and accept it, you know, but that could be the case, and that's what's really driving you crazy.
Yeah.
You know, you're being a little stubborn, because I know I was, right?
Yeah, man, this man is opening up. I could also say another reason, you know, that he may be doing this is because maybe he has attachment issues. You know, he's afraid to commit fully because everyone has this. Not everyone, but of course, you see how prominent this issue is with trying to protect yourself in every single thing that you do. And it can come across as being 1 foot in and 1 foot out relationships, because you're like, I don't trust it fully.
Yeah.
And when you don't trust it fully in a relationship, it's almost deeming to fail, and it's not security in it, because now it's like, I have to protect myself from being rejected, or at any point, maybe you can like break up with me or this and that. So now let me be the first one to do it. Right. And now let me continue to do that before anyone could pull the trigger or be the first one to do that. You know?
Well, that's a person, again, that's kind of like in that unintentional fuckboy phase.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's a person with a little bit of trauma.
Yeah.
In his life.
Yeah.
I think with most guys, like they always say, I need to work on my career or focus on my work. Right? And that's a real thing. It's basically this kind of goes along with what you just said as well. When you boil it down, it's a level of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Right? Of whether or not they're going to be able to do both or handle both. Right? Because there's an uncertainty on whether or not he can trust that you're going to be somebody that's going to be conscious of those emotions, or be conscious of his work life and his obligations, and maybe he thinks that he is unable to give you what you want as a girlfriend or as a partner.
Yeah.
Because he's so invested in his career. And that's a very important thing for us guys. I know 100% I'm like that.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, I have to focus on my career. I have to focus on my work, because there's other people than me that depend on it, or that, you know, that this ain't just about me. It's about a lot of these other people. I cannot neglect this. Yeah. Right? So I have to focus on it. Now, what has to happen, though, is like he has to communicate that this is what, if we're trying to make something work, that this is what this comes with. My time and a lot of my attention is going to be focused on this. If you're okay with that, then we could work, you know, we can make something happen. But you got to be real with me on whether or not you're okay with that. Because if you say yes, and then later down the line, you start to feel this level of discomfort because, you know, you're not getting as much attention or my time or things like that. Yeah. You're not getting as much priority, then that's going to become an issue. And then I'm going to be really frustrated because now I've opened myself up. Like you said, you were cool with it. I've opened myself up, gave you my emotions. I'm attached now. And now you're going back on what you said. And maybe you said it because you thought you could handle it or you could deal with it. And you couldn't.
But see, I see where that is. And I think that most guys probably aren't honest with themselves on making that known and clear to their girl. And I think that's where the confusion comes, because you realize that there's supposed to be balance with everything. But if a guy is at a place where that is existing in his life and he's putting this front, you know, to where it's like at the forefront, then, you know, things need to be clear on where people are at. And I think really the mishaps and, you know, things like that happen where in discrepancies where it's like, it's not clear. And now you're going into this with sort of assumptions and sort of expectations that are being not met because of these sort of misconfusions and things like that.
Well, yeah. And it's like, well, ladies, we can all like relate to this in some way. If you're a career woman, you know how important that is to you and how much time and energy that takes. Like if you're an independent woman, like we talked about, this guy's an independent man. He cares a lot about that. So it's like, you know, going into it with an understanding that this is what's best, that this is what is a priority in his life, and I have to accept that because ultimately it's what's best for both of you. If you know, and your guys' future.
I mean, a man provides security.
Right. He like in his 30s.
He has to work.
From like, you know, depending on when he really starts taking his, like from the moment you exit high school and get into college, it's like these next 10 to 15, 20 years determine how you live for the rest of your life.
100%.
You can't fucking drop the ball in this period of your life.
No.
Right? And be fucking around. And, you know, there's got to be a healthy balance. And, you know, any partner, anybody who's a partner of somebody like that has to be really, really understanding and like be okay with it. Like understand that that's for both of you, and you will have your guys' time together. And when it is, you know, it's going to be phenomenal. Like it's going to be great. You're going to get all of him and whatnot, but it's going to be bits and pieces here and there. It's not going to be like high school love. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like that at all. So you have to understand what you're signing up for. And he's got to do a good job of communicating that and being honest, because this is the number one thing I see is like, you know, he's always using that excuse like, I need to focus on work. I need to focus on work. Well, if he really cares about you, he'll communicate that this is what his work schedule is. And then he'll also like have that conversation with you. Like, okay, I know you want more, but like, I need you to understand that like, this is what I'm dealing with. So if that's cool with you, then okay, we could take it to that next level.
Right. Well, I can make time when I can.
Otherwise, he's just using that excuse as an excuse.
Yeah.
If he's not willing to have that conversation, so if he does use that as an excuse, then hit him back with, okay, well, I totally understand that, and I'm willing to work with you. Yeah. I respect that you're you know, a hustler and that you're a career-driven guy. I totally understand. I get that. Yeah. Right. But you know, I'm willing to, you know, compliment that in whatever way I can, because like I you know, there's a connection here that I feel, and if you really do feel that there's a connection as well, then you'll be willing to communicate, okay, how can we make this work? Right? It's like, okay, we gotta limit the amount of time that we see each other. You know, it's like we gotta limit the amount of time that, you know, you know, but we could at least be official and exclusive with each other, right? And have that openness and with each other, you know what I mean? So it's like, as long as he sees that you're willing to have that conversation, then that'll open him up to having that conversation, and then you can determine whether or not it really is something that you can, you know, if that's what you want in your relationship. Yeah,
you know I agree. I feel like sometimes what can be like really sort of detrimental problems in relationships and marriages or any sort of dynamic, you know, as such, is when you depend too much on being with each other all the time. You know, so I do believe that space for one is good.
That's so unrealistic.
And I also believe that both should have some sort of a mission for their individual lives that they can even come and build together too. But it should be never where now I'm depending so much on you for my happiness, for my to see like your effort and everything like that, where it has to be like pressurized. Because I do think a healthy balance with everything is good. Because if he does love you, he would make effort, no matter what his sort of lifestyle schedule is. But it's also an understanding that I can't give you so much that you probably want, and I'm doing the best that I possibly can. Right. So it should be an understanding on both parties with, okay, this is what you want, this is what you want. How can we mesh this together and make it to where, you know, you receive what you need? Because I do believe too that one of the best, most profound things I heard is men, you know, in our DNA is we require honor, and women, they require love. Yeah. So when you're able to ascertain and bring both of that at the forefront in a healthy way, to where now you're considerate to each other on, what that means and, how you can give that to each other, then that's where a healthy, fruitful relationship can come from. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that, maybe, people got to
just some food for thought, baby.
Just some food for thought.
Just some food for thought.
Just some food for thought.
Here's another thing about just kind of piggybacking on the average guy. Like that also, like what I said before about him not really knowing, and having kind of a level of inexperience or not fully knowing himself.
Yeah.
Right. And him wanting what he wants. That guy is also getting into it without really fully exploring his options and knowing what he wants, because he doesn't know. He's just taking what's in front of him. So this guy, he might have a wandering eye. Right, he might have this wandering eye, and then while he's with you, he's like looking around. He's like, man, I just realized there's too much that also looks good for me, and I never really got to.
That he hasn't experienced.
Explore those options. So there's this level of like, what's the grass like on the other side, right? And that's that's the truth. That's the truth.
I mean, I feel like. When I speak on my situation, there is a relatability with that.
We're gonna get
into all of that. So it's crazy.
So he wants to see what's on the other side, and kind of play the field a little bit more. He just realized he's jumping into something, and he's too young, or he hasn't have had all that life experience, and he isn't sure about himself ultimately.
Yeah.
That's why he's not sure about you, right? And honestly, there's a way to deal with that. There's a way to handle that, that guy. And we're going to get to that. But what I want to get to first is like how to tell whether or not he's that type of person, right? Because this is a guy, he's using the excuse of it's not you, it's me, or I need to work on myself and all that, for the reason of like trying to go explore these other options, right?
Right.
So he's somebody who, he's not completely open with you,
Yeah.
because he's not sure how you're going to deal with it. There's a level of lack of communication with him.
Yeah.
You could tell that there's something bothering him, and he doesn't want to say it because he knows you're not going to want to hear it.
Yeah.
And that's a person, you could tell he's got communication issues.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's what trust comes into, because it's just like that. It's not all the way fully there, because now it's like I can't be vulnerable, like to the point of expressing my true emotion or how I feel, like actually about something, because I have to like put it on the back burner for the sake of your feelings.
Right.
Things like that. Like
alternatively as well, like he might be the type of person who does communicate those things, or he does acknowledge his flaws, but the thing is, like, he doesn't do anything about it. Like, you don't see a change. Like, he admits, like, yeah, I got this problem, I got, these issues, I still have these bad habits or whatever. He admits it, that these are things he needs to work on.
But they keep popping up.
But he keeps doing it.
Yeah.
Right? And he keeps that. What does that really mean? He doesn't want to grow out of it truly.
Yeah.
Because if he wants to, then you'll see actions consistently that he's getting better and he's coming out of that. It might take some time for him to fully come out of that, his old habits or his old ways or his way of thinking, but he at least acknowledges it and he takes actions consistently towards it. But if he doesn't take no actions, that means he's not done being like that. He doesn't want to give that up yet.
Yeah. Because if y'all are still having the same conversation months down the line and nothing has changed, then that's something where you have to reevaluate things. True.
Yeah. So just something to look at and consider. It's like, ask him about like his previous relationships and whatnot, because honestly, this is like a kind of guy who doesn't really have too many relationships. Yeah. If you think about it, that's why he's thinking and wondering about what's the grass like on the other side.
Yeah.
If he says, "Oh, I've never been in a relationship, I've never really had anything like this before. Okay, if that's the case, like, are you still curious, motherfucker? Like, you still trying to, like, or you sure about what you need and who you are?
Yeah.
And you know I'm the one?
Yeah.
Or
But actions will dictate that.
Yeah, exactly.
His words won't dictate anything.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's more of what he does. That's what
right.
you
There's
do
going to
every
be a
day.
conviction in him.
Yeah.
He's going to have way more decisiveness.
Yeah.
He's going to have a clear vision on what he wants in his life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when he has those things, if there's too much indecision and he's too much like up in the air about things, that's lack of experience. That means you don't have yourself figured out.
Yeah.
Right? But when you know yourself, then those answers are very clear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is what I want to do. This is the direction I'm going. This is what I need for my life. This is what my plan is for the future. If he don't got a plan, he's still like, it's all up in the air.
Yeah.
Then he don't know himself.
He don't know himself, yeah.
And he don't know what he needs. So he may very well down the line find out that you're not the right person for him. And then that's when it's not you, it's me. You know, I need to work on myself. Excuse is going to come in. So these are just things to look out for in the beginning, so you don't end up there with that guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not like you need to like cut him off completely, because this is somebody you can still be friends with, right? It doesn't mean he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Right. It does not mean he's a bad guy, but he just like, we're all still figuring shit out. It takes us time to figure it out. So just, again, protect your emotions.
Right.
That's all.
And we're just telling you what to look out for.
That's the bottom line. You can, you know, keep him around as a friend. You guys can have a certain level of a relationship and whatnot, but you all gotta be clear that, you don't want to commit to him because he don't have it figured out, right? Figure it out. He wants to commit to you. It's like you don't have yourself figured out yet. I'm sorry, I can't commit to somebody that still has this level of uncertainty, because if you're uncertain about that, then ultimately what that means is that you're really uncertain about me. You just want what you want for now. We could be friends. We can, you know, maybe have some fun or whatever. It's up to you. But you don't want to emotionally commit to somebody that doesn't have it figured out yet. Keep him as a friend. And then, you know, he's got to understand, you don't know if I'm the right person for you.
Yeah.
You don't even know yourself yet. How do you know I'm the right person for you?
Yeah.
Right? You've already shown me signs that are, you know, admitted, I don't know. So it's like, figure it out. And then maybe you're going to realize that I'm not the right person for you. So let's keep this as what it is. Yeah. Because eventually you might find somebody else and I might find somebody else. Right. Yeah. And we got to be happy for each other if that happens. Yeah. You know, there's a selflessness and you know, you're coming out of love when you have those intentions. Absolutely. You know, and that sort of conversation. You feel what I'm saying, ladies? How we doing so far? Is this resonating?
I think they writing down the notes right now. They got
if it is resonating, smash that like button. If you didn't do it before, you better do it now. Come on now.
Respect.
We trying to spread this knowledge. That's how it happens. This YouTube algorithm is a motherfucker.
Yeah, hey, I'm just letting y'all know.
I hope y'all dropping them comments.
I'm letting y'all know right now that we can only be as raw as we possibly can. We've been so raw with y'all.
We just coming from experience.
No
and
filter.
Guys we know, and so, you know, places we've been. Y'all see, I'm telling it from personal experience. Yeah. And now we're gonna get into what you've kind of gone through. Yeah. Right. And where it ended up, because man, this man is a living testimony. Man, to how this is like
should be a movie.
You know, super necessary. So like, I mean, if we're just to kind of take a bird's eye view, like from the outside perspective, because I witnessed the entire thing from start to finish, from the moment you guys met to the moment that happened. Yeah. Right. And I was, you know, your boy was the best man up there, witnessing it firsthand. So when I say firsthand experience, I'm telling you, I witnessed the whole thing, the ups, the downs, the evolution, that time off, and what happened during it, and then where it ended up. And then I saw the change in both of you. And I even talked to his wife and got her perspective as well, which I'm going to share with you. So let's first kind of acknowledge that both of you were trying to make something happen.
Yeah.
When it wasn't supposed to happen at that time.
Yeah.
So take them back into kind of where you were in the relationship at that time when it wasn't really meant to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why wasn't it working out?
Yeah.
You know, and why did you guys even get there in the first place?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, that's a really good start. So I can definitely say that going into it, going actually before that, I just got out of a relationship and I just got out of living in another state, fresh new into a new city. Yeah. LA. Albuquerque, LA. It was a past relationship that didn't work out where I was a stepdad. I spoke on that situation and everything like that and how my mind frame was and how the dynamic was then coming into a new city with straight up the mindset of like, hey, I'm here for a purpose. I'm here for a mission. I don't know clearly exactly what that is, but I do know I need to be here. And with that said, literally, coming out of a relationship already, you have the mindset of like, I don't want to get in any other relationship right now. It's way too fresh. I'm literally just focused on me. I need to do what I need to do to like just, build from here. I'm in a new city. I need to figure out things.
I want to point something out real quick. The fact that you said you don't know what you're doing here, but you know you need to be here. Yeah. And that you just said, I need to figure things out. Yeah. So this is kind of goes back to what I just said. It's like you're still uncertain. Like you have good intentions. Right. But there's a level of uncertainty.
It's a level of uncertainty.
So I just wanted to point that out. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So literally you fast forward to the second day that I arrived in LA. And I remember where all of the guys was up at the rooftop. Yep. And, of course, we started our residency, all of us coming in, excited to start that. That's another sort of venture that we're doing in terms of coming fresh in the city or we're entertainment or like we're about to experience all these things. So up there on the rooftop, that's where I met her. Yeah. And it was just one of those things where like I found her attractive. Yeah. And I seen her with her mom and her sister and her dog. And, I just felt the need and felt compelled to just say something, to just talk to her. And it was just one of those mindsets of like, I find this person attractive and I just want to like talk to them. Yeah. So we ended up talking and was very bold because I ended up talking to her mom and her mom actually favored me. And gave basically her sort of like, hey, like this guy is actually, he seems like a nice guy, like give him a chance and everything like that, because she was in a position where she wasn't even dealing with anybody. She didn't want no relationship. She was coming straight from Texas, on a basically mission to like build. And, she was in a fresh new city. She wasn't there for that long or anything like that either. So
yeah, she had just moved here.
She had just moved here, so it was one of those things where
you guys are both kind of in the same.
We both was literally, it's like a mirrored reflection.
You guys
are
the same person.
Yeah.
But like just like literally opposite gender. Exactly. Right? Because she was here pursuing entertainment as well. Yes. Music career, acting, and modeling and things like that. Very attractive young lady. And her mindset was kind of similar to yours in a way. Oh yeah, she made it known too that like there was no guys that she wanted to talk to, like at all. We ended up finding out that, it was actually a couple guys that she was entertaining, sort of, or suitors, I guess, if you want. Right, but then at the same time...
But at the same time, it was
like... both of you were.
Exactly.
Because you guys were, like, new to the city. There's a level of excitement, meeting people.
You just get out of relationships. You're like, man, I'm appreciating the single life. I'm appreciating me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So just chilling.
We're both doing that.
No pressure. So, we met, we talked and everything, and then we established sort of this friendship as like months go down, right?
Right. Because she wouldn't sleep with you at all at first.
No, not at first, anything like that. And in my mind, of course, I'm in like, oh, I just want to have fun. Like she seems like a nice girl and everything like that. I like her vibe, I like her energy, but I'm very sexually attracted to her. Yeah. And in that mind state, like I was just like I said, I didn't know myself. I didn't know anything of what I wanted to do. I just felt like I just wanted to have fun. Yeah. So with that said, it was just like, okay, she was a little different than, sort of most girls, like especially back in time when you like go back to touring days and this and that, where like I wouldn't say there was like minimum effort, but it was more of like, okay, it was an understanding and a dynamic where like we would go to new cities and stuff, and it was just like, hey, do you want to have fun? You want to have fun? Cool.
Right.
But with her,
which is fine. We're not knocking that.
That was, I'm literally just going back in time on telling you my past. This is my testimony, like literally from the past to now. So basically, we built that rapport up. She didn't want to do anything, and at first I was just like, Is it worth my time? You know what I'm saying? Because you think about that like as a guy.
You're thinking about your dick.
You're thinking about that at that time.
Point.
Yeah. So basically, I left and I was just like, let me just go and focus on me, do my thing.
Right.
And then I think it was about a week actually to where I was just thinking about her too, and I was looking at her social media and I was just like, something about her. Like I need to maybe go back and talk to her and like let her know that, hey, can we just be friends and everything like that, whatever that means.
Your expectations.
My expectations kind of like differentiated, so I went and made that known to her, and we ended up just like building a friendship, and she was okay with that as long as we didn't try anything. That led to where emotions came over a period of time to, of course, things surfaced to where it's like, okay, now where is this kind of going? And she made that known to me when I was still like sort of social media fuckboring around and everything like that. Well, she was just like, well, I see you doing these things, and I just kind of thought we was in this direction. And we didn't make that clear. Yeah. So that's why I was doing those things. And
so honestly, you were in your fuckboy stage, like, in like mindset, not like unintentionally, but like. That's kind of where you are. Because like what we were just talking about earlier is like the characteristics of that guy who's charming, but also still flirting and like wanting to live his life and live that. So, you were in that mindset. Yeah. She pointed out, see, you're following these girls, you're liking these comments. Why should I take you seriously? Right. And then she caught that about him.
Exactly. So that's why we had to have a talk and make it known, hey, is this what it is? Are we exclusive? Is this the direction we're going in?
Because in your head, you're like, well, we're not exclusive. Why would I stop doing
this exactly. So with that being unclear, it's like, okay, there's really no like security in this. So I'm like, I don't even think that it's really anything. We're just like kind of just going along with the flow and just being friends and just like, that's what it is.
So you made it clear to her that if we were exclusive, that would change?
I made it clear to her, and this is very important to listen to, that if it was that and we were exclusive and we made that known, that this wouldn't be an issue. Yeah. So we talked, we made it known we was going to be exclusive. And then, that's where, things kind of went into us getting together on Thanksgiving, literally that year. Like officially. Yeah.
So by getting together, meaning like you guys were exclusive?
Boyfriend and girlfriend. Yeah. Exclusive.
Now, is that the first time you guys hooked up as well?
I can't really remember. I knew it was like literally
right around that time.
Right around that time where things was like clear. That's when we actually.
Gotcha.
So it led to me having to basically move from where I was at, because I was in Encino at the time, and I was driving 25 minutes every single time to like try to spend time with her and see her. So I was just like, being in Hollywood would make so much sense, and I'm here, and I wasn't really in a stable place, bro. Like I was sleeping on the couch, like at a buddy's house.
Here, right?
I just moved here, so I was figuring out my even living situation.
Right.
So she had a place, and I was looking for places in Hollywood. So we basically decided that she offered to me, hey, why don't you just stay with me? Because we're exclusive and everything like that. I was just like, are you sure? Like I could get my own place just down here. I'm looking, and we did tours and stuff, and I wasn't really in the right financial situation.
Right.
So it was like shitty places.
Yeah, this is a really tough city to like
really tough
get your
city,
start
small.
in.
And she's seen
ask
that.
Anybody.
And she's seen that, and she was just like, man, like I don't really want you like in what I'm saying, like these kind of shitty places or whatever. Do you want to just stay with me?
Right. So you guys move in together.
So we move in together. After moving in together, I have to find a job. Because mind you, I'm pretty much new to the city. Yeah. And I don't have security yet. Because literally I poured everything into my past relationship because it was my ex and her son that I was taking care of.
Yeah, so you didn't even have like any savings.
I didn't have I literally spent and poured everything into that relationship.
And you didn't really build anything for yourself during that time.
No, and I'm young-minded. You know what I'm saying?
And then like I want to also add, like while at that time when we were doing the residency, it was only like a once a week thing. So everybody that I told about it, I said, hey, look, this is only gonna be this.
Yeah.
So like you're gonna have to have side hustles, but like only be a part of it if like this is where you want to be, if it makes sense for you in your future and whatnot. Like I'm gonna give you something at least that can like be something that you could do like on a weekly basis as like a little bit of a thing, and then as a way to meet people and all that and get your start out here.
Exactly.
So look at it like that. And some guys, they came out here with that plan already like situated, some guys didn't, you know, but and it's really tough out here. You know what I mean? So you were looking for your job.
I was looking for my job. I found one. And I was working at the Wax Museum in the Guinness World Records, literally here in Hollywood. And it wasn't really the best money I was making, but it was something. Yeah. And I was going to work every day. But I essentially it wasn't something that I wanted to do. And I felt myself sort of burning out like every single day because I was spending so much energy and time throughout that time. So I had in my mind, I wanted to really accomplish something. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't do that because I didn't have time or energy to do that. So I fell into sort of this slight depression. Right. And I was just like, man, like...
You're not where you want.
I'm not where I want to be. I'm supposed to be a man. I'm supposed to be taking care of you, not the other way around. I'm supposed to have taking care of like bills and all this other stuff for myself. Anything that we want to do, any experiences, you can't do none of that because I'm like, I don't have my stuff figured out. Yeah. And it created issues for me. Right. And then I start... of what you were talking about in the past, where past traumas and things like that would start surfacing for me, attachment issues and everything like that, mom issues and things. And so the whole like sort of me not knowing if this was something that I was ready for. Right. Because I was just like, oh, wait a minute. I'm fresh into it. Did I literally rush into a relationship? Did I think that I was ready for this? And I did. And there was.
So now he starts second guessing himself. Yeah. Because he bit off more than he can chew, he realized, right? Yeah. That goes back to what we were just saying again, the level of uncertainty. And it's not saying that like he's a bad guy or whatever and he had malicious intent, right? You went into it, you genuinely loved her. Yeah, 100%. I saw. 100%. You know what I mean? But you didn't have your shit figured out. And then it created these issues. And then it created like this curiosity, that wandering eye like we were talking about. I mean, we could be honest about it. And it's like, I didn't really get to live my life out here. I do love this girl, but like, so explain that for me.
I was going to get into that. So basically, because I'm still new to LA and I knew what LA was, especially being this big city and all this glamour and experience, of course, anybody that moves into this city, you have curiosity. It's like, oh, I don't just come in here knowing that I've done everything. So basically getting into a relationship and having that in the back of your mind, it sort of like ate at me to where it was just like, wait a minute, like I haven't really experienced anything in LA. Right. What is it like out here? So I always had questions of that. And it wasn't wrong to think that. Right. It was natural because I was just like, well,
that's how you were for the longest time. Let's just like call it what it is. Yeah. You had these fuckboy tendencies for a long time, right? And it's like you didn't know how to break out of that. Yeah. Right? And it didn't happen until like a certain period, which we'll get to, right, where it like actually happened. So, because this is really fucking fascinating, how a guy like you gets as much attention as he gets, who had a certain mentality in the past, had a trauma growing up and all this, and the transformation is like, what? It's like, how the hell did that happen? And like, you got to give her a lot of credit.
Oh, 100%.
Like a shit ton of credit for knowing how to navigate you. Yeah. She like, because to a certain degree, she understood you. Yeah. That's why she could navigate you like almost, not perfectly, but very well. Because she knows guys, she knows what the game is, and she understands, and she also understands you in particular.
Yeah, and you know what I really felt like at that time, what I made to come to realize was, I put it in a perspective as, oh, is this the right person but the wrong time? Meaning like, wait a minute, I feel like I relate with you, I connect with you on such a deep level, but why am I having sort of these thoughts? Why am I having, these sort of, visions of different things that I think that I want to do or accomplish,
these
or
temptations.
These temptations that's all around me and everything like that, to where I'm not strong in myself, I'm not grounded, I don't have my stuff figured out, and I love you. So it's just like, man, like this is a hard situation to be in, because now it's like it's not like I can't change or I can't fix it. It was just that I didn't know how to.
Let me ask a question for the audience, because what they're thinking right now is, you say you love her. Mm-hmm. How can you love her and still be looking at and being tempted by all these other people, Because if you loved her, a lot of other people, a lot of people who are in love, they'll tell you, I find nobody else attractive. Right. So,
you know what it was?
Yeah.
I loved her.
Right.
But I didn't love myself. And what I mean by that is that you can't love someone unconditionally if you don't love yourself unconditionally. And that's a very real thing. And that just means that, like, it's a choice too. And I feel like I didn't make that choice within myself, because I felt like there was all these factors that determined my sort of depression, all this other stuff, to where I didn't love myself and I didn't respect myself. So then all these issues and things like that caused it on her. It wasn't like I didn't love her. It was just really these deep issues within myself that I did not find any sort of answer or true motivation at the time to truly fix. And I think that's where the perspective was very truly brought at my attention. And what had happened was, over the period of time, it did cause issues.
Right. You were lacking self-validation.
I was lacking self-validation.
And you're using all this temptation to help fill that void.
100%. Like entertaining things that I wasn't supposed to be entertaining. And it was wrong. And it was one of those things where I didn't feel right, because I knew what she was giving me, and I knew her putting aside what she didn't even want to bring or do in the first place, which was, being a relationship. So now that she gives me a chance, and we're in a relationship, it's like I'm not living up to the expectation that I'm supposed to be living up with her, because of these issues within myself that I've had before I even got into this relationship with her.
Let's also, because after talking to her, she was kind of also, in a way, in the same boat.
Oh, yeah.
But in her own way.
In her own way.
Right.
So yeah, and then it got to a point where a decision had to be made in terms of like us having to have a talk. Because what it was I felt like I was still doing things that I wasn't supposed to do, that I really wanted to stop. But in a way, I knew where she was at too, because we were at a place where we started to realize both of our vulnerabilities and how broken we both were. And two broken people can't heal each other. Two broken people can't pour into each other. So what happens is, the more you stay, the more you realize that, oh, this isn't really helping. We're not progressing. We're just retracting, and it literally was the only solution that I felt that, like, hey, we have to end things, because this feels like there's things that we both need to work on for ourselves in order to only make this work to come back as two different people, or evolved people. Right. Because it will never work how we still are right now, because we are broken, essentially. And it started coming out, and color started coming out within a relationship as months and months went by, to where we started seeing the things that we never wanted to show anybody. But it just literally came out to where insecurities, all this other stuff within ourselves, all our issues and stuff. And it was just something to where we really had to put it in perspective on. This was the answer. And this was the solution. So, as much as we didn't want to.
Let me ask a question for the audience again, because this is the #1 comment in that video. Is why couldn't you fix these in the relationship? If you truly love the person, why couldn't you make it work and evolve and heal yourselves during the relationship? You said one thing, acknowledging that you're both broken people. And when you're both broken and you both have your own issues to focus on, like, you're unable to heal each other.
Exactly.
And you're unable to heal yourself. Because here's another thing that somebody else wrote in the comment section. Is saying that sometimes in a relationship, you're so focused on the other person that you neglect yourself and your own issues that you have to fix.
That's exactly what it was.
Right.
Because we was playing house, essentially. It was like all of our focus was on each other, where it took it off of us.
Right.
And when that happens, it's like, oh, you're not literally dealing with life. You're masking it with playing this fairy tale sort of life that now, because that wasn't very much dealt with, it's creeping into what this whole fairy tale is supposed to be, to like break it to the true reality of what it is.
Right.
You know? And I think that's something to really, for people to really understand, you know?
So you guys have the conversation.
Yeah.
You guys both acknowledge what it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure, I know actually firsthand that it was a really tough separation in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those talks nobody wants to have.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where you can either take the cowardly route, where you literally just leave,
right,
or you take the route that you're supposed to take when you look somebody that you love dearly in the eye and tell them all the issues that you have, all the things that aren't working right now, and what is the decision that's the toughest decision that you need to make. And it literally is one of the things that eats at you because you don't want to make it, but you know you have to.
Right. Can I share? I want to share something, and it's a little bit personal about you. Because I was there during this whole period when you guys took this time off. And I know a lot of people are thinking, that might be listening right now, that then it was never true love to begin with, right? Or whatever. I can tell you just from witnessing you know, where you were at and how you felt afterwards. Yeah. You know, and the things you did afterwards, and like knowing you as well as I know you and understanding you, because you are a complex person, like emotionally. Yeah. Right. But things that stood out to me is like, first off, I've never witnessed you cry before. Yeah. Ever. And then I remember after you guys broke up, I gave you, you know, well, I don't want to mention that.
No, I remember this night.
There was, you stayed at my place for like a couple days. Yeah. Just until you figured out something else. Yeah. And there was one of those nights where I could tell you were kind of going through it, and you were trying to hide it. And I just wanted to be a friend and be there for you. So I was like trying to like get you to open up and like tell you, hey, I'm somebody you could talk to, bro. Like I got you. And then it just like spilled out of you, and like you started to break down, and you know, like I was hugging you. Yeah. And I could feel you like, you know, crying. Yeah. And that to me is like, okay, this is real. Yeah. Super real. You know what I mean? Because I've witnessed how he is, you know, when it's not real. Yeah. Okay. I've seen all sides of you in that way. Right. So I knew it was tough for you, and there was the demons that you were fighting. Yeah. That sort of level of like disappointment you had in yourself. Yeah. And, you know, this frustration that you had that you weren't able to make this thing work with this person that you truly did love. Yeah. Right?
Absolutely. Well said.
But like one thing I want to like give you guys both credit for is like the level of maturity and self-awareness that you guys had to be able to even like acknowledge it in the first place. Yeah. And then pull the trigger to like take the steps that were necessary for the betterment of both of you. Right. Right.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about now, like what those things were that happened during that time, because then this is going to tie into why it was necessary. Yeah. And then how you guys both evolved and then reconnected, because you guys both went into it almost willing and acknowledging the fact that, hey, I might have to let this person go and she might find somebody else. Yeah. You know, but if that's what's best for her, I'm going to trust that she's going to take the steps and make the best decisions for her, and I have to be okay with that.
Absolutely.
Right, and vice versa.
And that was one of the things that I truly accepted, number one, was that. Because I knew that this very could have well been my person for the rest of my life. And I had to be okay with letting her go, knowing that that could have been a reality very well much. Like her finding somebody that she are supposed to be with, whatever that means, and that I'm not that guy. So what happens when people are hurt? What happens when you try to like get over things? You go out and try to mask it.
Yep.
You go to parties, you know, you start to like play the field, you do this and these things where now I'm like, okay, the things that I thought that I wanted to do, now let me put that in perspective.
Let me go see what the grass is like.
Let me see if the grass is greener, you know?
Right. And at the same time, let me try to see if I'm healing myself. Let me heal myself through this validation.
Exactly.
This cheap validation. That
exactly.
I'm getting.
And that's exactly the perfect description. It's cheap validation. So I'm going out doing these things because it's like, oh, I haven't experienced this in LA, right?
Right.
So maybe this is the time where I do it.
Yep.
So I go and do it. I experience LA, whatever that's supposed to mean. And then I really start to realize that like, oh, this isn't what I really want. This is only a temporary sort of gain or pleasure for, you know, the things that I don't really want to deal with. And I'm thinking these are the solutions. You know, it's like, oh, let me see how many people I can go out and talk to. Let me go and, you know, put everything like that at the forefront where entertainment and drugs and all this stuff is like at the forefront. And then I realized for myself that like what truly matters in my life. And then you start to really have that person in the back of your mind still as you're going through whatever you feel that you're supposed to be going through, right? And then you get this transition to where now it's like, okay, I've done that. So let me try the whole working on myself thing. Let me see how that will be. Let me go to the gym. Let me try to read. Let me try to meditate or whatever that is. Let me try to do these things that I can now sort of build up my confidence and self-esteem again.
Yeah.
To where now I don't have to worry about emotions or let anything
use outside
or dwell
validation
on anything that I've been dwelling on, you know, since we broke up.
Right.
So I do that. And then as I do that, I get a big opportunity. I end up booking a TV show.
The Tyler Perry series.
And you know what happens? I end up booking another TV show. I end up getting a car, like a really nice car for my first. I end up getting a brand new apartment. I end up really finding my worth or value as a man.
And let me point something out. It wasn't until you stopped like seeking outside validation that all that stuff started to happen.
Right.
Because I was like here the whole time, like we were still like seeing each other on like, you know, several times a week. And, you know, I was here when you I filmed his audition tape for that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I, you know, your focus was really on you. You were meditating, going to the gym. You were doing all this self-development. You were focusing on yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of like going out and seeking that from other people. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like you would still, like you weaned off of it tremendously.
Yeah.
And you started to put most of that priority on yourself.
Yeah.
And that was the turning point. And that's when all these things started happening for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And then now it's like, okay, I acquire all these things, right? And then I even realized for myself that like, I'm supposed to feel like I made it.
Right.
I'm supposed to have truth in my life. I'm supposed to have my answers figured out.
Yes.
I'm supposed to is the key to that.
Yeah, I want to highlight this because this is like a big thing. This is like a pretty deep thing too.
Yeah.
You know, but like go ahead and continue. I like the reason that's such an interesting thing is like people think they need all these like accolades and, you know, accomplishments and money and whatnot to feel that fulfillment. And you got it.
Oh,
like,
I got it.
Yeah, it happened for you. And
literally
then,
at the palm of my hand.
And then continue on how you were feeling during that time.
And I didn't feel fulfillment. Not even a little bit. I relied on what I felt was materialistic or accolades or status or self-worth to be like, okay, this was everything that is supposed to be fulfillment for my life.
Let's not discount what that does for you as a person. Like, just like, it is still a positive thing.
No, I'm not knocking that.
Yeah,
I'm not knocking
for the self-validation, for the building your self-esteem. It covers that area.
Yeah.
But us humans, we're very complicated, right? And we're very, we need more than just that.
Yeah.
That's just a piece of the puzzle.
Oh, 100%.
And a slice of the pie, right? And that's the only thing I want to like point out here.
Yeah.
Is that, some people think that that's a majority of the pie. It's not. Yeah, and once you get it, you realize what we're talking about. It does help. It alleviates a lot of stress in cases, the financial stress and all this. But it's not. There's other parts of it that are very important as well.
Oh yeah, and then I realized that like all of the people that acquired wealth, all of the people that are successful, that I thought were happy or I thought were abundantly joyful or in their life because they were at the top or they made it or they got what they wanted in their lives from all this working and stuff, and they were empty, and I've related with that, and I was just like, wait a minute, all these people that I thought I'm literally right there with them now.
Right.
And I went in sort of the same direction to sort of feel that. So now I'm asking myself more questions. I'm like, why am I not fulfilled? What else do I need, like in my spirit? Because all this stuff was like external things, right? Mm-hmm. So then you fast forward where we get sort of a little bit reconnected. But what happened was I realized what she was doing in her journey. And that whole time where we were away, initially she was doing the same thing and trying to mask stuff, a party and doing this and that. But she came to the conclusion very well that her brokenness led to her finding something more that allowed her to heal fruitfully.
Yeah. And
more that she could ever do by herself.
Right. And maybe this is kind of where I should come in and give her point of view, because I spoke with her.
Yeah.
And this is what was happening on her side.
Yeah.
So she also had the realization that she had to heal from past trauma.
Yeah.
And that was not an easy task for her. She felt this emptiness, like that she was just a shell of a human being. Mm-hmm. And, she had her past and her ways and her lifestyle and all that. And when all that, your guys' relationship, like, kind of, quote unquote, crumbled, it left her kind of like lost.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And one thing that helped her tremendously, and like if you haven't figured this out about Romeo yet, is like she found God.
Yeah.
Right? And this was a guiding light for her, right? And it was profound. And I've seen how the impact it's had on you, and I've also witnessed the impact that it's had on her. Because, if I'll be fully transparent and honest with you, like while you guys were together in the beginning, personally as your friend, as like one of your best friends, and somebody that I like, you being somebody that I care about a lot, I wasn't always sure about her.
Yeah.
Because I saw some of the like things and the demons and that she was fighting.
Yeah.
And like,
because we all have them.
Yeah,
nobody's
exactly.
perfect.
I wasn't completely sure about her, and there was always like this like sense of unease inside of me. But like, again, I want you to do what makes you happy. So, I'm gonna be here for you, advise you. But like that person, I was like, like if you can make it work, bro, like I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
But like, just be careful is kind of like where my attitude was.
Yeah.
And then she went through this transformation, and come to find out, she was like just getting closer to her faith, and it was acting as like a guide for her, if I'm going to put this in perspective for people who are listening, that was her source of like guidance and direction, and it fulfilled you guys, and you can talk about like what it did for you, like in more specific terms, but like that's what she needed, because she didn't have any sort of thing like that, any sort of direction at all. And this was something that gave her that. And so, and it started to fill her up, with that self-worth and value and whatnot, but through faith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she started to learn the value. This is a couple quotes that she said to me and that stuck out that I noted. That she was willing to let you go because she started to really be more solid in her value, knowing that you may have to go see and figure things out on your own, but at the end of the day, I'm solid in who I am, and what I bring to the table, however you want to put it. And sometimes that other person, this is her quotes, sometimes that other person needs to go see so that they can look back and realize the true emotional connection that you guys had. Right? And how invaluable that is.
Yeah, that you won't find that anywhere else.
So, and she was confident in that.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the end of the day, when you started to voice your concerns and the things that you had to deal with and that you needed to figure this out and that you guys may need to, at first she wasn't like receptive of it, but then she kind of came to the realization of like, hey, well, I don't want to force you, like you can't force the other person. No. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, go figure it out. It's like that is almost like a turn off to me, because that it's like you need to go figure yourself out. I don't want to be with somebody who doesn't have themselves figure out and isn't sure about me. Right. This is kind of like what her mindset was. But then at the same time, she realized I can also use this opportunity to finally fix some of the trauma that I have, and finally heal myself, and also finally start to address some of the other people in my life. And repair some of those relationships that I might have neglected. Like she noted her sister, right? And she actually pointed that out as being something that was like a great coping mechanism for her, as like helping others. And then she came to the realization that everything that you do during that healing process, it's like you're being selfless in your end goal of trying to help other people. So you're making yourself better, but with the intention of making other people better. Like being better so I could help my sister, being better so I could help my mom, being better so I could be a better partner, being being selfish in that way, like of healing yourself with the intent of being selfless. Right? As an end result. And doing things out of love. So, because the way she put it to you when you guys did separate, she made it clear that, hey, go figure yourself out, but don't think, this is a key component. It's like, don't think that I'm just going to be here waiting for you. Right. You have to realize that, because otherwise the other person, if they think that, then they're going to try to keep coming back.
Because they know that you're always there. Right.
So you got to actually be somebody who's willing to walk away, heal yourself, and then go truly find what's best for you. Right? Because that's the only way the other person is going to seriously change, if they are serious about you. Right? So you have to almost trust and be okay with letting the other person go as well. And but you let him know that, like, out of love. Like I still like love and respect you as a friend, and I trust that you're going to do what's best for you. But also know that, like, I can't just be waiting around, right? And, you have to be okay with that, as I'm okay with you right now walking away. Like, we're both approaching this, like, out of, like, respect for each other and love for each other, because that's the only way that it can later come back to truly be something like what it ended up being. Right?
So, I think it's amazing how this whole thing kind of went, because then you realize that it almost turns into something supernatural. But the only way that is to happen, because like I told you, I still needed to heal, even after accomplishing all these things. So with me still needing to heal and her already healing, but not having really much, I seen that light in her. And I wanted it. And I was just like, why am I not still? But you are. I see sort of this strength. I see this confidence. I see this clarity. I see this direction in your life. And I realized that, like, okay, I want to do what you're doing. She ended up even making a decision on being celibate. Right. Because it's the purity factor from realizing that, hey, I'm going to do everything, basically righteously. Right. From God, that I can't heal myself. That God is the only way that I'm able to heal, because I realized that I'm trying. I kept trying. I kept trying to rely on my own strength. I kept trying to, heal myself or whatever that is, doing all this and doing this and that. But it didn't work. Right. So this did work. So it's like, okay,
and
let me do that.
It's like, okay, that's what I want, because you're feeling like, yo, I got the material things and the material.
Well, it's not only that, but then even with that, I was still helping people. I was still being a good person. I was. Right. Because I'm like, okay, let me be a better person, or whatever that means. But I wasn't healed. I was still helping people. I was doing this and that. But then I'm like, okay, what is that factor? So I remember it so vividly that she did have that conversation with me. Hey, this is where I'm at. And if this is not something that you can, kind of do, or, decide to make a change in your life, then we can't be together romantically. Yeah. So it was that survival mechanism in a man that really just kind of, turns on that, like, wow, like, I could really lose this person forever. And it's like, okay, let me try to put that in perspective of wanting what you have, also really truly changing myself, even after all of this thing. So I remember, her inviting me to church. I remember me being prayed over. I remember what I've learned of spiritual warfare, and then all of this stuff, it put it into great perspective that all these demons and all this other stuff, it was a battle of literally my spirit of like, okay, it was still tugging me down of like, hey, you're still not worthy. You've done all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you're like, where's that fulfillment? So now I'm like, okay, let me just go all in. Right. Let me literally surrender myself of everything worldly that I used to be. Even materialism, even success, even status. Yeah. I did that. I started doing the actions of what she was doing, going to church, praying, building my faith, literally building my relationship with God. Yeah. And then I started seeing sort of a supernatural transformation and revival within myself, that the healing that I needed the most was actually coming into fruition in such a profound way. Yeah. And then I started feeling the light within me. And then I started realizing that, hey, this is something that we needed, And then literally we started to really believe, I guess, within our own rights that, like, yo, for us to have to come back to do this together, this is the only way. Yeah. Because then you realize it's not just talk anymore. Right. It's like, okay, we're making the action. I wouldn't have ever made this change on my own. Right. Ever. But through God, he was able to transform me. He was able to transform you. He was able to bring us closer to him to inevitably bring us closer to each other. Because it's like that triangle where we're like at the corners and we're going to inevitably, because I realized this, that anyone could pour into their partner, but who was pouring into them? What's going to happen? You're going to eventually both burn out, and same issues and things like that are going to keep happening and happening and happening because you're relying on your own understanding. You're relying on your own strength, to where now it's like, well, how am I getting rejuvenated? How am I pouring into, who's pouring into me to do this? Because that's what you do in a relationship. That's what you do in a marriage. Yeah. You pour into each other. You love each other. But you're never going to have this ultimate fulfillment of what it means to fruitfully be in a marriage or relationship, longevity-wise, that's strong, 100% faithful, if this isn't at the forefront. Yeah. And that's where we realized that was the strength. That was your guys' and the key. It was the key. And then I realized, even for myself, of how I was. Right. And I want everyone to hear this, of how I was, of everything we explained. How is it that I make the decision to be celibate? How is it that I make the decision to literally confess all of my past ways and sins and things that I struggled with? Yeah. Lust, girls, all this stuff, like money, idolatry, all this stuff, to where, how was I able to suppress all of that and live in the fruit of the Spirit, which is peace, joy, abundance, self-control, everything like that? It was no other way for me. And I was just like, man, like, this is something that is like a life hack. Like, man, what's going on? So now I'm like, I'm ultimately transforming
Right.
She's transformed. Now we evolved into another. Now it's like, okay,
Now
let's see about doing this again.
Right.
So now I chose to be celibate. She was already celibate. Now we are even at the putting in perspective of, okay, I really want this with you. I really want this with you. And now we have God at the forefront. Now we're building our relationship. Now he's given us instruction. Now he's pouring into us to where now we are healed. Now we have strength. Now we have everything that we need to pour into each other because we're being poured into. So now it's like, let's do everything the right way.
Right.
Now purity is at the forefront. Now it's like, okay, I want to marry you. That was kind of sort of, it wasn't a clear like type of statement of like, hey, I want to marry you, but now we knew where we were going. And then we also knew that if that was going to happen, it eventually led to literally like, okay, we're not going to live together until I marry you.
Yeah, because you're doing everything by.
We're not going to sleep over anywhere over each other's place until we marry and we make that decision. We're not going to sleep together until we get married. So literally, it's happening so fast for me to where I'm like, this is almost unreal. Because you think that even for a guy that used to be in this position of so royally, of being a player, of being this guy, a fuckboy, whatever you want to call it, excuse my French, that he's literally changing so fast. What is the reason behind this? Yeah. Oh, the girls are thinking, women are thinking right now, oh, I want my guy to be like, how is this?
Well,
But I'm literally, can I just like finish this? Like, that it happened so fast and it wasn't on my timeline. Like, cause I told myself so much that, oh, it needs to take all this time. Oh, I need to like, it's going to take time. You're going to have to wait for me or like this and that. I'm sorry. Like I can't be on that same direction. It's going to be so much time that I got to wait in order for that to happen. But that did not happen. It wasn't on my timeline. It was on God's timeline. And he changed me. And it literally happened literally within 2 weeks and everything like that, to where I started noticing that like, I could have never done this on my own.
Yeah.
We got back together. We got married. And we're doing things and so much more on a literally a long-lasting, fruitful, loving, faithful basis. And now I'm not that same guy.
Right.
Everything that I've struggled with, I don't struggle with anymore. You know, everything is so directed at loving her so truly that she's my wife, that we're building, that we're doing God's mission, that we're literally becoming supernatural. We're becoming holy. We're becoming righteous. And it's the best feeling ever. And that's what changed everything for us, that if we relied on our own strength, this would have never worked, ever.
Right.
That this was the only way it was able to work.
That was like the biggest catalyst for both of you.
Yeah.
And you know what, I like kind of looking at it from like an outside perspective, because I know there's probably a lot of people listening here who maybe you don't share like a religious kind of lifestyle or faith or anything like that. Like I'll fully admit I'm not like a very religious person.
Can I say something real quick? Well, I don't want to get the perception that we're religious. I want to get the perception that it's relationship. Because that's what the faith is. Even if I'm just going to throw it out there, it's relationship. It's not religion.
Right. It's a relationship with God.
It's relationship with God, with Christ.
I know. Yeah. I'm saying it that way because I know people are.
I know. A lot of people. That's why I wanted to just kind of clear it up like that. Just so
maybe thinking of it that way, right? So as you're listening to this, it's like, well, I'm not really a religious person. You know, I'm not sure if like that's what's right for me or whatever. It's like, but here's the thing that I want to like to help whoever might be listening, like understand what was happening, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. But what I realize about you is like that thing that you were lacking, and the thing that you've never had really in your life, and neither did she truly to the fullest extent, is like the spiritual wisdom. Yeah. Right? The spiritual fulfillment. Yeah. Not just like this, you know, materialistic fulfillment, financial fulfillment, this, you know, validation, which is like this, you know, self-fulfillment.
But because it's tangible.
But it's like there's this thing called spiritual fulfillment, where it's like, you know, your spirit, your morality, your ethics, and your guidance in those things are like clear, and you have a strong understanding of what your morality is and what your ethics are, and like kind of what your code as a human, like in humanity, is, right? Like that's kind of like a spiritual thing, you know, that you don't get unless you have some sort of guidance in that direction, and you know. we're not trying to say that like there's a one and all. That's because I'm not a religious person, but I feel like because I've had so much exposure to, you know, religious people or spiritual people and whatnot, it's like, and you know, my parents did a really good job on like instilling ethics and morals and, you know, things like that. It's like kind of, and you know, there might be a lot of listeners who kind of feel the same way. You know what I mean? And it's like when a guy or a girl doesn't have that moral guidance, that ethical guidance, and there's really no reason for them not to do the things they're doing that they know they shouldn't be doing, because that moral guidance isn't strong or their ethics aren't strong, then they're gonna do it, you know? But for you and her, it's like such a lack of that. It's like growing up, when it hits you, it's like this, it's like being completely dehydrated in the desert for so long.
Yeah.
Right? And then you get this, the most refreshing taste of water just filling you up. And it's like, holy cow, like I needed this so bad.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, I don't want to do anything that doesn't continue to have this fill me up the way that it is.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So like for the people that are listening that might not fully be able to wrap their head around what you're describing, like that's really what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, people find that in different ways, whether it's through a relationship with God or whether it's through, you know, the way they were raised. But it's something that is very important, you know, to fully feel that fulfillment of like, you know, like what you were talking about, like purpose and, you know, guidance and direction.
Yeah.
It's like you need to have your moral code and your ethics and that be strong. You know what I mean? Because it ultimately what it boils down to is like a selflessness. It's like not about you anymore. Yeah. Right? It's like you're the least important person in the equation. You live to serve, right? Live to serve.
Well,
God.
you live to love.
Live to love.
Because that's ultimately serving in itself.
Exactly. So you're serving others, serving God, serving your partner, right? Everything that you're doing for yourself is ultimately, in turn, in service to others, right? And it's in service to God or what, you know, whoever's listening, whatever that case may be. That's an important thing to have in a person, right? In a partner, right? And if they don't quite have that figured out, you know, you kind of, you know, need to be sure if they're on the same wavelength as you. Because like another way to look at it is like, let's say you're going through the same exact situation that he's going through, and you're you're both in two places where you guys know you need to fix some things and heal some things, right? And let's say you start to do that self-improvement or work on yourself in whatever way that works for you. And now all of a sudden you're on the right track, you're on your goals, you're on your purpose, you have a clear direction, and then your man sees like, oh wow, she's a new person now. Yeah. She's evolved. She's turned into like a person with a clear direction, a clear purpose, she knows what she wants, and these are her habits in order for her to get there.
Right, but also don't get busyness confused with productiveness.
Right. Productiveness is like going after the goals, your purpose, and your
ultimately growing you.
Growing you.
Because
that's the word.
Like literally you can rely on all these tangible things, but how are you truly growing or knowing that you're just surface level growing? Because now it's just like tangible knowledge or tangible skills that you're only building, but deep down internally you're not really still like, so it's like you have to really find a deep why for yourself. Right. And just speaking on my perspective and her perspective on how we were this revival and this transformation that's so profound and different, truly at the forefront.
So wait, what made you realize that?
That I needed to see how real this was. I needed to see the proof that was in the pudding for if I was diving all into this.
Yeah.
Not just what I was experiencing, but what I read, what I got from the word that really applied to my life and what I seen actually happen. Proof. And literally I look at it in our perspectives as me and my wife.
Yeah.
About true change and revival and transformation of how we are now is that, you know, we do these things. Even in the Bible, it's like, you know, before basic instructions before leaving earth, you know, Bible. And it's a verse or a scripture that, you know, we love that puts this into perspective as well. And this, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things will be added to you. And these things were added to us in our lives. Another one, he who loses his life will find it. I rid it myself and I found something greater. Just like they say, you know, for a man, a wife will multiply.
Yeah.
You have the house, she'll make it a home. Whatever you think you can imagine, or whatever we felt we could imagine, that was so limited on understanding, his is infinite.
Right.
So now he created something more abundant for us.
Yeah.
That created true change.
Yeah.
Longevity. That created a marriage that you take these two broken people and turn it into something that is a true testimony that impacts and influences so many other couples or anything like that there is hope.
Yeah.
Now, I'm telling you what works for us. So, of course, everyone could have their own. Everyone could have their own. You know, but I'm just telling you, in our own personal opinion. You know, I don't want to impose.
This is his testimony.
This is our testimony.
Yeah, exactly. We're not trying to say like this is the only way, because there's another person that wrote in the comment section that had a really good perspective that was dealing with the same thing that I'm going to also share. So, you know, you take whatever you think can work for you and give it a shot. But I think there's an ultimate message.
This is definitely what worked for us.
Yep.
And you see, the proof is in the pudding, ladies. It's possible, but this was the only way for us.
Right.
So take that as you wish. This is my testimony. This is how I ended up being in a faithful marriage, because I am not the same person. The proof is in the pudding in my actions, because you know a person by his fruit, right? So he has to change ultimately his fruit, and he's not able to do that on his own strength, no matter what he tells you.
Yeah.
Something needs to be poured into him. But just make sure it is the right something. So ask those questions. Yeah. You'll find your truth. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all it is. But for us, it's God.
Yeah. Amen, brother. And I'm a first-hand witness to all this, so I can see how profound of an impact it has been. Yeah. You know, so, you know. Y'all know I keeps it real with y'all. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, they want to know. They're
like we all have, like, you know, questions about, okay, how do I get there? I don't even know, you know, if that's a route that, you know, you think you could take, or, you know, like, by all means, he just gave you a blueprint. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's a blueprint that you guys can take. There's another interesting comment that came in that I want to read, that she had like a really great perspective on how to go through that breakup, where it was, you know, she was with the guy who had genuine intentions and did love her, but, you know, he realized he needed to work on himself. Right. And, you know, she wrote, she left like 7 comments right under each other. Okay, let's see. I want to give you a lot of credit, girl. This is from Just Jordan. Okay. And she writes, I was in the same position, and honestly, if I could do anything different, I would leave sooner instead of sticking around and watching him not be who I needed him to be. I would leave him alone and give them the space to learn and grow in any way. I literally told him I loved him to the point where I can let him go and trust and believe that whatever decisions he makes for himself is best for him. Because at the end of the day, I'll be making the best decision for me. Boys need to grow into men. Keep in mind, this is on TikTok, so she's like, you know, writing it in, basically just like letting it rip right off the top of the dome. So she says, boys need to grow into men by experience and other shit. They are not like us women, where we pick up shit quickly. I let him go and got tired, but then I remembered he literally said what he said. He always hopes that we cross paths again. He never wanted me to leave, but it was best for me too. I learned not to take it too personally. I promise it'll all work out in the end, ladies. So I really love that, right? Because she had the confidence in herself to and the love for him to let him go, knowing that whatever decisions he made were what's going to be best for him, while simultaneously she was going to be doing what's best for her. Right. And she was giving him the space to grow because she realized that's what he needed. You know, and sometimes us guys, we do need that space if we're still in that phase to fully focus on what needs to be addressed and fully come to that realization with zero distractions.
Absolutely.
You know, and fully come to that resolution, you know, on our own. And this can go vice versa.
Just to make sure he's really doing that.
Right.
Because guys
so
that don't.
Exactly. But like, if they got these issues, it's hard to tell whether or not his intentions, like you could kind of feel it off the person, you know, whether or not that person is like an unintentional fuckboy or just like an average guy, or if he's like a fuckboy, it's pretty obvious like what the signs are and what the red flags are. And it's like don't listen to that dude's bullshit. It's like it's good that he let himself go. But the thing I want to take away from this is like do not take it too personally. Right? Because the reason she's able to say that so confidently is because she knows who she is. She knows it truly is not her. Right? It is him. So I'm not going to take it personally because he's fucked up. Sure, she's bitter about the fact that he led her on, or he bit off more than he can chew, and then kind of dragged her emotions into it as well. But she recognizes he's a flawed human being. This shit happens. I'm not going to take it too personally. It's a way for her to cope with it, move on from it, and focus on what she needs to focus on, right? And you know, she said, and at the end of the day, ladies, I promise it all works out, right? And this is similar to kind of what I experienced. It worked out for her. She's married now. You know, she's with who she's supposed to be with. And me, I'm doing what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing. You know, so I'm at peace with it, not going the way I thought I wanted it to go. Right? Because now I'm like, this is something I couldn't see myself not doing. I feel like this is too important. Like I care about this too much. Like this may have never happened. If that didn't go the way it went. Right? So you got to like take the positive out of it. You know, one thing that helped me, you know, really appreciate that happening was like the level of emotional intelligence that I gained from it. Like I was processing emotions that I never really felt before, you know, and I didn't realize how necessary it was for me to have that. You know, and truly understand it, you know, on a human level. And that's one thing that experience gave me. So I'm almost grateful now. I know that sounds weird saying, like, I'm grateful that my heart got broken, you know, because it gave me that, right? And then it also led me here. And now I'm able to talk about these things in ways I would have never been able to talk about before. You know, and help others out, right? That was one thing that I used it for in a lot of ways, is like when I see the people around me struggling through these things, now I can relate. Now I can like, actually, I know where you're at. I can understand where you're at. I can, you know, really empathize or sympathize with where you're at and like actually be, you know, of help. Right? So it's like having that more positive perspective, but then at the end of the day, understanding and reminding myself of like who I am, what I'm about, what my true character is, and like realizing it wasn't necessarily, you know, me or her or whatever, and maybe there was parts of me that I needed to fix. You know what I mean? But like, at least I can acknowledge the fact that I'm capable of fixing them, right? And like realizing that, you know, and just being confident in myself as like a human, like I will get there, you know, and I will have the day eventually come where that person comes along and it makes sense for me. Right. And that never ever, you know, that sense of certainty has never been like diminished in my mind. You know what I mean? And I'm very fortunate to have, you know, family and a support system and like an upbringing that fueled my morality and my ethics and like my sense of who I am as a person. To be confident in my ability to be a great partner for somebody else, you know. So ultimately, I think the key to getting there is starting to take on kind of habits of improving yourself for the sake of others, out of love for others, right? For your family, for your partner, for your community, for whatever, you know what I mean? Because when you have that mentality and that code and the ethics and the morality, like that's for me, like what makes me sleep with a smile on my face every night, even regardless of how much stress I'm going through, regardless of how much bullshit I'm dealing with. And I deal with a lot, you know what I mean? It's like I still know it's for a greater purpose, you know what I mean? Other than myself, because it's not about me anymore, right? And it just like it gives you like this sense of peace. And you know, for anybody listening that might not like be able to fully understand it, just take away this. You know, it'll all work out in the end. Just build that faith in yourself to be able to be a better person for the sake of others. And when you get there, you're gonna realize, oh shit, everything that they were talking about like was right, you know, and you'll find whatever way that is, you know, once you get there, you're gonna find a peace and that type of stuff of like, you know, it's not you, it's me. I believe you. Hey, I want you. I love you so much that I believe you and I want you to go do what's best for you. Because at the end of the day, I'm also going to be doing what's best for me.
There you go.
You feel?
That part.
You feel me, baby?
There we go.
God damn.
This was probably one of our longest episodes.
Yo, this is gonna be a lot of editing.
There's a lot of great stuff in
That's
there.
a lot of great stuff, bro.
But I mean, to be honest, it was very much a question and concern that needed to be addressed because I feel like it is prominent.
Yeah, no, that was like, man, the response we got on that video.
Yeah.
You could tell a lot of people deal with this.
Oh yeah, the relatability.
You know, a lot of people have like struggle with it. A lot of people, you know, want the answer to deal with it and like be okay with it, or you know, not be so hung up on it, and then also know how to spot somebody who might be, you know, like understand what's going through his head. Truly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the most important thing. What's going on through the other person's head?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like whether you're a guy or a girl listening to this and you're dealing with this from your partner, like these are some of the things that you got to be aware of to understand where they're at truly. Right? And when you understand it truly, then it's like it doesn't bother you so much because you're not like sitting there thinking, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, this makes no sense to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Understand they're a flawed human being. You know, we all are.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it is, you know, you can't take it too personally.
No.
Right? And that's for the sake of like your own sanity.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Because we ain't, we too blessed to be stressed, baby.
Blessed and highly
You feel
favored.
what I'm saying? Shit. Damn, we went crazy with this one, bro.
Yeah, we did. This is some good stuff.
Yo, and we got some more good stuff coming up in the bonus episode.
Yeah.
Last night I posted a story asking girls, asking the ladies, like, what are some things guys say that you don't know what it actually means? You know what I mean? And boy, we got a whole list of them.
We're about to decipher.
So with the bonus episode is going to be a real fun one because we're going to translate a lot of the fuckery that y'all be dealing with. So we about to dive into the bonus episode now, ladies, where we going to be deciphering all the chicanery that these boys be talking to y'all. And I'll give you a couple of hints of what some of those, I'll give you a couple examples of
See if they heard it recently.
of what those things might be. I miss you, but I have a lot going on. I'm just going with the flow. You're the only one I'm talking to. I don't deserve you. You're too good for me.
I think that's good. I think that's good.
We got
it's
so
a long
many
list of them.
There's a long list of them. There's a link in the description if you want to go check that out. That's a way
right.
for y'all to support your boys, support the podcast. And it's a way for us to give you exclusive content and join that little community we got over there.
That's right. Man, we love it. It's a La Familia.
That's right.
Family, baby.
So we're going to get right into that, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't done so yet, I hope you got some value out of this episode.
Yeah.
We would be honored and privileged.
Might I say, too, that this was probably one of the most vulnerable transparency that I have brought to you guys more than anywhere else. Yeah. Nobody really knows about my situation in life as much as you guys do. So thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for allowing me to be so open with you. And just like you said, like if you took something away from that, then that's what we're here for. I appreciate you.
I want y'all to understand as well, is like we're also like trying to get better at being more open and like vulnerable with you guys, because it's not easy, as you guys can imagine. So sometimes we are a little bit reluctant, but we see the impact and the value that it gives to y'all listening. Yeah. So we're slowly, getting there where it's like we're much more comfortable sharing a lot of these things that we're not the proudest of, or we're not, like some of those vulnerable moments, just to give you that perspective that, you might need. So,
laying all the skeletons out in the closet.
That's right. If you got any sort of value out of this episode, we would be honored and privileged if you would join the family by hitting that subscribe button, tossing us a like, participating in the comment section. These are all things that help this video reach more people that might need or might find value in it as well. So we appreciate that. Everybody listening over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, we appreciate y'all as well.
That's right.
If there's a subscribe button that is still not clicked, go do us a favor and please click that thing so we could continue to give you that game.
Hey.
You feel what I'm saying? And if you are listening anywhere, it would be a huge help to us if y'all went over to Apple Podcasts and left us a 5-star review. Right? We're trying to rack up them reviews, baby.
That's right.
So if we're doing something for y'all, let us know. That's the best way for us to really, that's the best way for y'all to really put your stamp of approval on us, and it would be a huge honor.
That's right. And keep sending those stories in. Keep sending your situations in, and we will do our best to literally bring it to you in the most honest perspective.
That's right. Come on over to that Instagram, baby. We getting that shit popping over there. We doing them lives. Don't forget.
You know the vibes.
So, and feel free to slide in them DMs, baby. Slide in them DMs. Cause there's still one over here that don't got a ring on his finger.
That's right. That's right.
I'm playing. I'm not trying to lead nobody on.
Hey, you know exactly what Miles is doing right now. Feel free, because he is a bachelor.
No, I've been very upfront about the fact that I'm like, I'm engaged to my purpose at the moment.
There you go.
So that's another question we're gonna answer in the bonus episode. It's like, this guy's too dedicated to his career. I could give you both perspectives on what's going on with that guy. So we're gonna get into it. So head on over there, ladies. We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week. Peace.
Peace. In the bonus episode.
This one's gonna be a fun one.
Yes.
Because we're gonna be answering a lot of them mysterious, ambiguous, and vague terms that be thrown your way.
That won't be so mysterious after we get done with this.
Yeah, we basically your fuckboy translators this episode.